Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mariner Spirit on the Supernatural Link Network. My name is Greg. I'm your host, and tonight we have two special ladies who have a great show on the paranormal. And before I bring them in, I'm going to go ahead and mention a few things. Number one are the people that I support. I have Autographs, and Autographs is a charity that's based out of Wisconsin that's with Tim Miley and his wife Lauren, and what they do is they do events, and during the events what they'll do is they'll have like so many guests, and then they'll have it at a haunted location, and it's a great event. They do a knock-up job, and I've always enjoyed them. I've been to a few of them, and I can say that they always have top-notch speakers. They have people that cover everything under the sun and then some, and it's great to have them. The other one, the other charity right now is PKC, Paranormal Kicks Cancer, with Chris Gaskowski and Alex Wilkinson, and they're from down in Florida, and they do same thing, basic charity work. They do fundraisers, whether it's haunted houses or haunted locations, and they'll raise money for cancer research. So those are the two people right now, or the two groups. If you get an opportunity to go with any of them, please say hi for me. They're great people, and I'm always looking for some more. So the other one that I always want to talk about before I start out is my authors, the people that have been on the show that have contributed and all have books. And the first one is Bruce Holliday. Then I have Tobias Wayland, Anna Benedict, Kathy Kressel, Barnaby Jones, Sherilyn Cotter, Dr. Heatherly Langdon, Lynn Monet, Ron Iacovetti, Victoria Munday, Tony Rathman, Natalie Jones, Patty Negri, Sylvia Schultz, Amelia Cotter, Rex Nielsen, David Sloan, Christina Bloom, D.A.Y. Song, Joseph Hallant, and I think I said that already, Dr. Rebecca Foster, but I'll leave it at that. And without further ado, it's a wild night tonight. It's like something's going on with the moon or something. I can't figure anything out. I'm going to go ahead and bring them in. I have number one, I have Dr. Heatherly Langdon, and then I have Dr. Tiffany Fraser. And both of these ladies have a show that's on the network. It's on Facebook, and it comes on at 8 o'clock on Wednesdays, and that's Eastern time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that being said, I'm going to throw it open to either one of you to start out and go ahead and let us know all about Paranormal 101 or Ghost Education 101.
Well, I'll start off, and then Tiffany, you can fill in whatever I might forget, because you know me, I always leave something out. But Ghost Education 101, we started back during COVID. It started with a group of us. We had panel discussions, a lot of presentations. And then over the years, it kind of developed into basically just two of us interviewing people. We rotate in presentations now and then. And we also have panel discussions as well. And Tiffany joined me last year as my co-host, and I've been excited to have her.
Yeah, I joined back in October, but I've been following the show for, I think at that point, about 2 years at that point, I had been watching and following the show. And I was really excited when Heather had asked me to come and join her on the podcast. I couldn't say no. And so here we are. And we love getting together once a week and just talking to people who share the same passions as we do. Because I say this a lot on the show. Everybody in the paranormal field, we all have some kind of something happened to us that just sparked our passion for the paranormal and got us into it. And whether we were just super interested or we saw something, experienced something, we all share some kind of similar passion that kind of brings us together. And it's a type of passion that you don't come across on a daily basis. And so it's really nice to get together once a week and just talk to people. And you can say what you felt, what you heard, what you saw. Other people can do the same, and there's no judgment.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if I could throw something in,
Mhm.
as far as gifts are concerned or your spirituality, either one of you, do you have anything that offsets the other one or helps the other one?
We've yet to actually investigate together, and we're trying so hard. And it's so funny because I have been thinking the last couple weeks, Heather, both me and Heather have had a lot going on recently. And
Yeah.
I've been thinking, I'm like, I know, how do I get out to Texas? How do I get out to Texas? Because we want to go to the Dr. Pepper
Yes.
facility. And I'm trying to figure it out. But we've yet to even meet in person. We just know each other through online platform, and we've spoken to each other even prior to me joining the podcast. And we are both authors. I write fiction. She's writing both now at this point. And so we've tossed some ideas about books back and forth with each other, and we just kind of clicked. And
Yeah.
but I don't. I'm of the belief that everybody has psychic abilities, but I'm not a medium or anything like that. Like, I definitely feel things when I go on investigations, but I really do try and be as unbiased as I possibly can because I am much more scientific. I want to document it. So if I'm feeling something and is captured on camera or on one of our devices, I really want that because I want to be able to go to the public and say, look, this is what we captured. And it wasn't just like a feeling or a knowing, it's actually happening. And I know Heather has a little, she's been doing it a lot longer than I have. And so you can go ahead and tell them what
No,
you've got going on.
I mean, holy crap. I've been working, it's one of those, I wish I hadn't moved from Florida because I would be a lot closer to you
Yeah.
than I am now. But I think everything happens for a reason, and especially, I even had you on a couple of my other shows,
You
not
did.
as a guest host, where you
Mhm.
actually quizzed us and asked us questions as the host of the show. So I felt the clickness there. We immediately a connection, comfortable with each other, and I'm not like that with a lot of people. I'm very
Yeah, I'm not either.
selective of
Yeah.
who I invite to my little circle. And I just felt that comfort. And I know just because of our scientific backgrounds and what we want to do in the field, I have a feeling that once we're together at a location, things are really going to happen, not only with the spirits, because they're going to realize what we're there for, and they're going to see our connection as well. So I think that would just kind of enhance. And after the Dr. Pepper Museum, we got to go across the street to Magnolia
Oh, of
and
course.
Joanna
Yes.
Gaines and everything. Yeah, we got to go do
Yes.
that.
So, out of the two, are you guys going to go ahead and share the responsibilities on the investigation, or have you mapped it out yet as far as how you're going to approach it?
I'm a fly by the seat of my pants type of
Do
girl.
you really?
See, and I'm a planner.
Okay, so I and it's so funny because on my paranormal team, um, my group leader is very much a planner. And I appreciate that. And I understand that it's needed. But at the same time, I walk into a location and I'm like, I kind of just want to go in here and see what happens, you know? So you need planning to an extent, but I don't like boxing myself in. Does that
Okay,
make
so
sense?
you're more a
Yeah.
loner.
A what?
A loner.
Not really a loner, but I just like to. I'm just more spontaneous. I just like to see what happens.
I mean, if you got a room up ahead and there's like 2 or 3 people that are going to go into that room, are you going to go in that room too, or are you going to go to, say, a room if it's on the right or something like that?
Depends on how I feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
See,
Like
and I'm
yeah.
oh, go ahead. No, sorry.
I mean, I'm also the believer. I never investigate alone. I always have somebody with me. So,
Well,
you know, if everybody is kind of like, yeah, we're going to go in here, then I'm not going to go into a room by myself. I have to have at least one person with me. That's just a personal rule that I have everywhere that I investigate. And I think everybody should have that rule, by the way.
that's rule number one. But
Yeah.
what I was sort of implying was the fact that there were other people besides just those 3. So somebody would follow you to there because that is the most important role. It always has been.
And the team I'm on, we do kind of operate like that. There will be times where we're all in a room together, but most of the time we kind of buddy up and, you know, go and just walk around and see what room kind of feels right, and that's what we'll do.
So I know Heather's been to a lot of big locations. And how about you, Tiff?
It was funny, before we came on the show, you mentioned Savannah, and we actually investigated the Sorrel Weed House. I always have a hard time saying that. That's the tongue twister. Sorrel Weed House, back in November. And that was the first time, not only was I physically touched, but it was caught on camera. So that was an amazing location to be at. I really enjoyed it. And then most recently, almost 3 weeks ago, we were at the old haunted Harriman Hospital.
Okay.
And that was very interesting. We're still going through our evidence, and that was a lot of fun. God, it was huge, and it's like a maze. I don't know if anybody's ever been there, anybody who's watching, but if you've been there, you know, like, I mean, we couldn't even decide where we were going to put the cameras. We kind of just decided, okay, this is going to be base, and however far the cables can reach is where the camera is going, because you get turned around so easily in this location. And you don't think that would happen just by looking at it from the outside. Heather, have you been there?
No.
You haven't? But like,
No, I haven't. Yeah.
Once you're inside, it's like you go down a corridor and then you go down a flight of stairs, but to get to like level 3, you have to go down and then up again. And it's kind of because they kept adding on to the hospital over the years. So it's kind of like they were like, oh, well, you know, it's not going to work this way, so we'll just make it work this way. But you got to take like 3 different stairwells to get to like one wing of the hospital. It was insane. We saw some stuff just during the tour that was amazing. Heather, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about it yet. We saw some stuff
If
just
you want
during the tour.
if you want to keep it quiet, you're more than welcome to. My point would be that an old friend of mine that used to live right up in town here bought Old South Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And that's Ronnie D. And then Ronnie D bought, and then Ronnie bought Harriman. So
yeah,
Ronnie and I go back, wow, a long time.
Yeah.
Because I was in Old South Pittsburgh before anything was even done. It was like a rat trap.
Yeah. Yeah.
To say the least. And it had a real ominous, a real dark energy in there.
Really?
And there were things in there that, you know, and I did had a capture in there of the nurse.
Did you?
And it's a fantastic picture, and it's her cat's in the picture with her.
Oh, wow.
And 5 years before, well, Heather, you remember this, didn't I tell you about that one?
I think you did,
And,
yeah.
And then 5 years before that, one of the guys from the first group that we were in, he had a picture, and he heard that I caught one, and he sent me her in her room on the third floor, and there was an apparition, and it was opaque. So there was an outline, came down, and at her feet again was the cat.
Oh, wow.
And that was 5 years difference.
Wow. We had somebody on the team catch a shadow figure in a picture on their cell phone. And it was while we were doing the tour, and we were looking down this very long corridor, and I was standing next to Philip, and I'm looking at Philip and I go, "Do you see that? There was a light way down at the end of the corridor, and it was going in and out." And I'm like, "What is that?" And I was so excited because it didn't make sense. I said to my team members, because they were like trying to get, I said, "Everybody stop moving." Because I'm that kind of person. I'm like, "Is it us?" And I'm like waving my hands. Is it a reflection from one of us? I turn around and said, "I'm so sorry. I tried to figure this is. I don't mean to take it over."
So is this part
I booked it down the hallway. I booked it down the hallway and went and looked right through that window, and there was absolutely nothing there. And about probably 2 minutes later, as we were trying to like gather ourselves and like what could that have been, somebody in our group, she snapped a photo, and about maybe 15-20 minutes after she snapped the photo is when she was flipping back through it, and she's like, "There is a solid shadow form in the window." And what is crazy is that this window, the bottom of the window came to the bottom of my chin, and the outline of this shadow figure, you can see the head and the shoulders. So whatever this was massive. It was amazing.
So are you're like 5'11" or something like
I'm
that?
only 5'5" and maybe a half. I'm not very tall. So yeah.
The scientific approach, how is that different than just a straight everyday investigation?
I can't explain it. There was nothing beyond the door. There was nobody there. There was no way for anybody to get in there. It was locked. It was they had to have it locked for fire code, or I don't know, something like that. And it just, there are some things that you just, it's paranormal. Mm-hmm. Was it a ghost? Was it an apparition? I don't know, but something is in the photograph. I know that, right? Something happened. We saw something with our eyes, and it wasn't just me. It was multiple people. So, I've always been the type of person, you can try and explain something away all you want, but at the end of the day, if people are experiencing something, they're experiencing something, and you don't have to explain it. You don't have to understand it, but we shouldn't just be denying it, because denying it is not going to make it go away.
Something that's really interesting about, and this would be on the lines of what Heather had told me quite a while ago, is that we're all the same. There's nobody in the paranormal community that's any better than anybody else.
100%. And
when we go ahead and we get involved in a situation like what you had and the ones that Heather's had in the past, and even and myself, it's always that. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing to know that for what we've been given individually as far as gifts are concerned, that they don't really all apply. In other words, you can't wear them like on a belt.
Yeah.
You have them stored, and with me it's really hard to store it because I'm just like a bag of cats at times. So, I remember some, and then, others I don't. But it's one of the reasons why I went to ITC as much as I did was EVPs.
Mhm.
Now, both of you work with EVPs, correct?
Mhm.
Yes.
See, now, do you have structure to how you approach this in a group?
Uh, I know in our group, I mean, it's just three of us on our team, and it's my husband and my son. We make sure that we, of course, the standard rules: no whispering. If you talk or your stomach growls or something like that, you tag the audio. And we try not to ask your standard questions. That is our one goal: is don't ask why'd you die or how'd you die? Why are you here? Do you know what year it is? Think outside the box. My son has even asked the question, is a tomato a fruit or a vegetable? And he's gotten an answer. Is the earth round or flat? Trying to come up with different questions to get them engaged in a conversation versus, oh my God, another paranormal team's here asking me questions. So we try to come up with things that are different. And then when it comes to the audio, we all take turns listening to it. I listen to it a little bit more than everyone else because I'll listen to it once and I won't even listen to what's being said. I'll just be like, okay, at this time I heard something. And then I go back and listen a second time and focus on what was said. And then, of course, I go through a third time and actually listen with my eyes closed.
Mhm.
And I block out any exterior stuff. So I listen 3, 4, 5 times.
Oh, wow.
And then my husband listens to it once and he catches something I didn't even hear the first 10 times I listened to it. So we make sure, and we all share everything. And of course, don't tell the other person what you think you heard.
Mhm.
Just, hey, can you listen to this?
That's good.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, we never tag what we think it is.
Mhm.
I know recently we were asked if we could do that on our evidence video, and we denied that request because, you don't want to lead people. That's really important, especially in the paranormal field, because you're so susceptible to believing something that you have to form your own opinion.
Mhm.
And so we do not tag what we think an EVP is saying. The most we do, I know our team leader, the most he'll do is he will amplify it by I think only 20%. But we don't slow it down because that just distorts it too much.
Yep.
But we will amplify it and we'll tag the timestamp where it happens, but we will not put what we think it's saying.
Mhm. Yeah.
And a lot of times the clients will come back and they hear exactly what we heard.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you do individual investigations too?
I have not done individual ones yet. I've only investigated with the team.
Okay, but I mean, you're talking client now.
Oh, private home investigations.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but yes, we do those.
How many have you done?
We might get 1 or 2 a year. It just depends. We get a lot of inquiries though, but you have to weed those out.
Heather, have you been doing them too?
I have in the past, but due to legal issues and everything that's going on in the world nowadays, we've stopped doing private investigations. If a business comes to us and says, hey, we think our business is haunted, we might go in. Like there was one place in Vegas, and this was with a different team that I was on before I started my own. A big museum in Vegas came to us and they're like, hey, our employees are getting scared. Can you come in? And they basically had us give their own employees a tour of their location and showed them how to investigate and how not to be scared. But other than that, we won't do private investigations.
You weren't in the wax museum, were you?
I can and can't say.
Okay. I just thought I'd throw that out there and see if you'd bite. It's like putting a worm on the hook. And
Yeah.
There's so many cool locations because we've been to a few that we can't talk about either. And it's like, oh, how do I talk about this? How do I tell the story without
there
We didn't
were,
say anything saying we wouldn't talk about it, but we also said that we wouldn't really, but I have talked about some of the experiences that I've had there outside of that event that we did.
Yeah.
we when I was down there and saw David the last time, I ran in on that night of the investigation with Robert. I ran into this couple, and they're from Savannah.
Mhm.
And they happen to own the Savannah Paranormal Museum, which has some crazy things in it. I haven't been there, but one night I actually went ahead and got to go ahead and do the show with them in the museum. And we actually captured EVPs in the background from just when we were talking.
Mhm.
So, if you get an opportunity, that place is just nuts.
I'll have to stop by the next time I'm there. I love Savannah. I
You
love
know,
going over there.
I mean, they're great people.
Yeah.
I just had to have him on, and it was like, wow. And his wife is from Chicago, so I mean, it's just like not that far away, and they're very, very professional people. And she's a photographer professionally, does all sorts of different layouts and stuff, and it was like, wow. To have her on the team, that's got to be something really great, because I always enjoyed fan casting. So when I would shoot pictures, I would start and I would shoot. If I was in a room, I would shoot the whole entire room.
Mhm.
And then the biggest part is remembering where that picture happened to be if you captured something on the film, because
Yeah.
what happened in Old South Pit was the picture that I captured was not in the sequence that it belonged in. In other words, I shot about 100 pictures. And when we went to the boiler room, it was on day 2, not day 3, on day 2, and it was in the morning. So it would be a little less than halfway. And it was like, I went through them all, and there she was she was at the last picture.
Mhm.
And it was like, how does that happen? And it's happened to me now 3 times.
Wow. Yeah. They like to mess with equipment.
Yep.
My
Red
phone
Bull-
never works when I go on investigations. Every time I try to take pictures with my phone, I don't know what it is. They're like, no, we're going to screw with your phone every single time.
Does
Yep.
it turn it off or what?
The camera will not work. I will hold the shutter button. It will not take a picture, or I'll think I took the picture and it comes out blank. It's the weirdest thing. I don't even try anymore with my phone. Like, I really don't. I just take my old point and shoot with me, because the phone will not work.
See, and I've
It's like
had the
they know.
opposite. And
Did you?
when I was in Waverly, I was walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden my phone started clicking, because I have my phone set up, because I used to be a photographer, set
Yeah.
up to the old camera sounds. So when the camera goes off, it actually makes a camera sound.
Right.
And I have a cover on the back of my phone that hides the camera.
Mm.
And I was just walking around, and it starts shooting photos of the camera closed. And then when I was being interviewed, it was sitting on a table, and the front camera turned on and started taking photos of the ceiling.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
I mean, we're like, what's that clicking noise? And it's, we pull up my phone, and there's 2 or 3 photos of the ceiling.
Wow.
Have you been to Waverly too?
I have not.
How about you, Heather?
I did. I went 2 years ago, October, filming with Brandon and Mustafa. So,
Which one did you like better? Trans or there?
Waverly. It felt like home.
Even though it's so wide open?
For me, whenever I feel a connection with a paranormal location, like Gettysburg, I call Gettysburg my second home. When I feel that connection with the location, it feels like home to me. It feels like I'm being welcomed in. And so it was very comforting. I mean, because I had a lot of alone time. So I wandered alone a lot throughout Waverly, and I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel threatened like some people say they do. I felt protected while strolling through that area.
You go down the chute.
I did. I went down with David, and David and I were sitting there for a while, and we saw actually, it looked like someone was carrying a lantern at the end of the chute.
Wow.
That's what we saw at the at Harriman. That's what it looked like in the window. It was just like this light going in and out. It was like a pinpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow, that's really something.
Yep.
You know, that's the kind of thing. But you know, Gettysburg,
I
it's
need
the
to go
same
there.
thing for me because I started there when I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
So I mean, you know, what happened to us that day, I will never forget.
Yeah.
And I know everybody except my sister's gone,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't get by Reynolds Woods.
Okay.
That's basically the first stop.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
My father was the kind of guy that if he went into a big park like that, he just parked,
Mm-hmm.
and that would be it. You know, if you had tons of everything over there, he's not going to move his car.
Mm-hmm.
But we had everything happen, every sound possible,
Wow.
and it would come in with the wind and go out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was horses screaming and guys screaming, and it had the cannon shots, and
Wow.
it had muskets, and it had the pistols, and you could hear the horses like crazy, and it would come in and go out
Mm-hmm.
with the wind,
Yep.
and then start up again. And he wasn't. They didn't have back in that particular day. They never had, you know, reenactments.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And my father approached. It was like a game warden type guy. He wasn't even. They didn't even really have real rangers back then. That's the way the car looked to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I was only 10, you know. But I went up with him when he was talking to him, and he says he was wondering, you know, what the heck they had going on. I mean, there was even grape shot that was going on over the top of our heads, literally. And, you know, it would just scare the living bejesus out of you.
Wow.
And it was like, no. He says, there's no reenactments or anything like that. And I said, thank you very much. And turned around, and he grabbed me by my shoulder, and he says, when we get home, you're not going to say
Mm.
anything to anybody about this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I looked at him, and I felt like saying, you know, forget it. You know how it gets, you know,
Yeah,
and that
I
was
think
that
most
kind
of
of
them
religion.
had
But,
that
but
experience.
that's, you know,
Like,
Major
can't talk
General
to anybody.
Reynolds died right there.
Yeah.
So maybe he, you know, maybe out of respect, he draws the noises.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you know, when you look at the actual amount of not only men but animals that died
Mhm.
too, you know, because there were 10,000 horses that died there.
Yeah.
Where do you
People
put
don't believe-
10,000 horses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think people we always think about, you know, when we hear casualties, you know, humans, but we don't think about that. We don't think about, you know, the horses, the animals, and that kind of trauma across the board that just kind of
Yep.
gets embedded in the land there, and all the bloodshed, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, you don't think about that. Of course, of course animals, you know, were killed, but I didn't realize it was that many. I had never heard that number before.
10,000.
Wow.
And it's amazing how the animals can imprint on the ground too, because on the recent book that I did about Florida Civil War ghosts, it was called the Cow Cavalry, and it was an actual dedicated cavalry that was set to protect the cows in Florida because they were the main food for the Confederacy.
Oh.
And where they housed them, you hear, you know, cowboys shouting, horses neighing, and cows mooing.
Wow.
And then every once in a while, there's a random bark of a dog, because there was reports of having one or two dogs there to help them keep the cows, you know, herding the cows. And I was like so floored because you hear about it, but when you're interviewing people and talking to people, you never hear people who say, I've heard this. And it's
Right.
really interesting to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to Gettysburg now 3 times, and I would not hesitate to go again.
I think we all three of us
If it
just
wasn't
need to
so
get up
cold,
there.
I'd move there.
I really have an attachment with the vets, you know, with all the guys that died there. So that time that we were there, it was getting very dark. We had Rosemary Allen Golly with us and her husband, and we went down into the triangular field below Devil's Den. And I went ahead and I was going down on the right-hand side towards the forest area because I wanted to be close to the woods because I know that they were all in the woods. And I found this giant piece of granite that was like 20 feet long. And I sort of set my stuff up there. And Rosemary and her husband continued all the way down to the creek, which was at the bottom. And that's the place where, you know, that was red. That turned totally red the next day after they had that battle there. And I can remember getting into it and saying, you know, you can come out. I'm a veteran too. I'm a soldier. You know, and I put my hands out, and that's when I felt that I don't know how to it wasn't like a giant net, but it was close.
Yeah.
But it was all around me.
Yeah.
And I had goosebumps. And at the same time that was going on, at the top of the hill, they were doing EVPs. And now this is why I say what I was telling you guys before about EVPs, because they were saying you'd hear a word come out, and you know how noise carries in distance like that. And it said head. And there were like 8 people standing there, and they started to argue over the fact it didn't say head, it said dead. No, it didn't. It didn't say dead. You know, and they're, you know, back and forth, and I'm going, stop it, stop it. So that's why I went off into IC land, because it was like, I don't need to listen to that.
Yeah.
And I know it's important in the community, and it's part of the way the community goes. And there's people that do it with respect and understanding, and there's other ones that just think they can do it the way they want to do it.
Yeah.
And I know that, you know, of all the investigations that we've all done, that you do it with the utmost respect.
Yeah. And getting back to the EVPs, the other thing that we do is, like, if we think we hear something like red or dead or whatever, we'll write it in our notes, and we don't show the other person our notes. And once everybody's reviewed it, we share our notes, and I'd say 9 times out of 10, we get the same result. But we don't share it beforehand. It's actually written down. So that way someone can't say, oh no, yeah, you're right, I did hear that. They wrote down what they thought they heard.
Well, when you said that, you know, it's like, you know, you don't travel the kind of distance that we traveled to get to a place like that.
Yeah.
To have a screw up happen like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the way to put it. Because people don't take the time to consider other people.
Yeah. No.
You know, that you're sort of kicking yourself in the butt on it. You know?
Yeah. That's why I'm selective on my team. I've been a part of a couple different teams in the past, and I finally was like, you know what, my son's gone on investigations with me. My husband's the level-headed skeptic that we need. And it's like, okay, we are the perfect trio. And that's why we did what we did. We still work with other teams, but it's only people that we've vetted and trust.
So how does a year look now for the rest of this year? Are you guys going to be involved in any really good investigations?
If we could get together.
Yeah.
I was telling Heather, I said, we're trying to get out to the West to visit family. And it's just with plane ticket prices right now and everything. It's just,
And
we
I
could literally drive down to Florida and take a cruise
Mhm.
for how much it's going to take to
You just
cover.
pack a bag, Tiff, and just thumb out down the road. You
Not
get
with 2
picked
young
up in a
kids.
heartbeat. You'd be there faster than if you drove.
I know, right? I know.
I
We should
do
just
know-
take a week to drive.
Yeah, I do know we've talked about doing like where we pick a location that's similar. I mean, just for an example, a cemetery or a park or, you know, a museum. And we both plan on going live at the same time. And Tony Rathman has agreed to bring Staticom on at the same time we do that. But we just haven't, I'm trying to pinpoint a date with him that works with everybody. But with my work schedule, it's kind of crazy. But we thought that that would be kind of a fun experiment to do where we're both at the same location asking similar questions, and then Tony's using Staticom to see if he can feed in to the locations we're at with the spirits that he communicates with. So I know we've talked about that. Geez, we just need to get in the same location.
I know.
Between him and Ron has been on. Tony's been on the Wednesday show, but Ron's been on more.
Yep.
But Ron sort of, you know, he looks at it and it's like, wow. He says, how does that happen? Because you know it's cross country and it's through a cable.
Right. Yep. Yeah. We actually have Tony's been on a couple. Actually, we've had them both on when they were working together. Then we've had Tony on. I've actually finally pinpointed a date that Ron is available. So him and Lourdes will be on our show in the near future to discuss the plans that they have. But I plan to do the same thing with what they're doing with the digital seance and and then I want to do the same thing with a psychic or two to see what they're picking up on while we're at a location. I mean, we got to make the best of it. We're not in the same city, not in the same state. Yeah. So, I mean, what a better way than to go live like we are right now and just start investigating the locations that we're at.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's really great that you can go ahead and you know, you've been around, you know, for quite some time. Yeah. And, you know,
make me feel old. Thank you. No, I'm just
no. I mean, as far as
she
your
has
knowledge
so much knowledge and experience.
And you know, if you look at somebody and you say, well, who would I want to come on this? You know, your name would be in the top 5.
Thank you.
You know, without a doubt. That's the way I would look at it, and I don't really care what anybody else thinks. You know,
thank you.
The community needs more of that.
For sure.
You know who Jenny Sullivan is?
Yep.
Okay, Jenny Sullivan had a round table like two Sundays ago that I was part of, and it had Ron was on there, and there were a whole bunch of. I met 3 different people I didn't even know existed. One was that young DeSaris, Ron DeSaris or something like that. He was like the boy investigator. He was started as a child, and all these other people. But anyway, that's not important because I'm not talking with. I'm not having. But it's great to go ahead and get a comparison across the country, and how people carry their skills with them or their gifts. And I should use the gifts more. It's much more appropriate because you know the stuff that I learned from Scotty Rourke, I'm never gonna lose those.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes it. And even though I talk sometimes too much, it makes sense that, you know, you mention those kinds of things because people need to hear that.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, you know, you're one of those people, and you know now Tiffany's right there, and she's right with you, and Lord only knows where she's going to end up.
Yep.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Underneath some bed sheet somewhere, saying boo to somebody.
No way.
Oh,
No, I look up to Heather a lot. In fact, I went to metaphysics school because of her.
okay.
And I've only been actively investigating and like really in the paranormal field for about 3.5 years. But as soon as I got into it, I knew that I needed to. I'm the type of person though, like if I have a real passion for something, I'm going to go as far as I can with it.
Mhm.
So when I joined my paranormal investigations team and immediately I was like, this is what I've always wanted to do. I called Heather and it's like, okay, tell me, what do I need to do?
Mhm.
And I did it. And so yeah, I've only been really in the field for 3.5 years, but I think I always knew I'd end up here though.
You see, I have a amazing wife
Hmm.
that I've been married to for a long, long, long time,
Hmm.
who happens to consider that area back there. That's where my basement people are.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
So, and everybody that's part of the groups that we work and we work around, every once in a while they'll hear her say something, and it's usually pertaining to the basement people.
Oh,
But that's, they're not really here. But for her, it's like, why would I stop muskie fishing? And I haven't really stopped it because that's part of what drew me into it.
mm,
It's
Mhm.
all those other people that I met from different areas that validated things that other
yeah.
people hadn't.
Right.
Yeah.
It was sort of like bookwork.
Mhm.
If you had to go to the library and pick up 15 or 20 books on different states and
Mhm.
things that happened, and then all of a sudden you had people that were in the next boat to you,
Yeah.
chewing at you back and forth from West Virginia and Kentucky and oh crap,
Yeah.
those are the grays.
I remember the librarian looking at me like I was crazy when I would take out my stack of books.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't allowed to check anything like that out. So I had to wait till the internet hit the scene. And then I had to like, I'm writing a paper and like get on AOL and look up as much as I possibly could.
So how old are your children?
My kids are almost 10 and my daughter is 14.
What's your 14-year-old daughter have to say about you being in the paranormal?
She thinks it's the coolest thing in the world. She wants to go on an investigation with me. Um, she's not ready. I tell her. Actually, last week I told her, I said, "You can't even be outside when a wasp flies by. You're not coming on an investigation with me. I love you, but not yet." Um, and but she thinks it's really cool, and we have some we the two of us we have some pretty interesting conversations.
Mhm.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. And then my husband, actually watching the paranormal shows back in the day is while we were dating is that's what we did when we were dating. And so he's always known that I've had this spark of, I just there's something in me that just I have to be connected to the paranormal somehow. And so when I went on this when I met my current paranormal investigations team, and I met them because they had done a public investigation, and I told them about it, and I was like, "Listen, this is what I've always wanted to do." I had never been on any kind of ghost tour. I had never done anything along those lines. I said, "I have to do this. I don't care if you get sick. I don't care if the kids get sick. I'm signing up for this." Um, and I'm doing it. It was under $100. I'm doing it. And just fell into it that way. And when I was asked to join the team, he came home and I told him, and he's like, "So you're gonna do it, right?" And I go, "Yeah," because he just knew. He knew I had to.
Mhm.
So, and that's now I'm here.
So, what would be the three places that they would be the ones that, it would be the pinnacle?
For me,
Yeah,
I
investigation wise.
I would really like to investigate my childhood apartment where I had my first experience. Um, I want to know who it was, what it was exactly. I grew up in this huge apartment complex in San Francisco, and I lived there. My entire childhood was there, and so over the years, people pass away. You see an ambulance, and you hear through the grapevine, so and so passed away in their apartment, and everything. I would like to investigate that building. I really would. I haven't been back since the last time I set foot in the building was when my mom moved out of the building. So that would have been like 2000, and I was married in 2009, so maybe 2008 was the last time I'd ever set foot in that building. I would love to investigate it. If it ever goes abandoned someday for whatever reason, I that would be the place. My number one, honestly, cuz that was where it all started for me. That's where I heard my first disembodied voice. It's where I saw things move. It's where I saw the shadow person. So yeah,
Wow.
that would be it for me.
Heather.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, of course, Sydney Opera House is number one on my list. I just, something's drawn me to that location. Always been interested in Australia on top of it. So that's like number one on my list. And then, geez, I know Alcatraz
Oh
is
God.
another
Yes,
place
let's
I'd
go.
love to
That's
go.
where I'm from.
I
Let's
know,
go.
exactly. And I've been there before, but I want to go back because I haven't been back to Illinois since my uncle died in 2004. But the Volo Museum in Volo, Illinois.
I'm like 10 minutes from there.
Mhm.
I used to live in McHenry.
Okay.
I actually grew up in McHenry and Woodstock area, and we would go there all the time just to shop because they had a little store next door while I was growing up, and that's actually where I got. Back in the 90s, they gave these little wood cedar like hope chests that were really tiny for graduation. And I picked mine up from the Volo Museum. And just, I loved it. There's just a connection. I never got to investigate it, but I visited it a lot.
Do you know about the little cemetery behind it?
No. I knew there was one in the area. I didn't realize it was right behind it.
It only has 4 or 6 Union soldiers
Okay.
that
I
were
might
all
definitely
brought
have to get out
back
there again.
because there was really nothing but farmland. It was
Mhm.
all farms, and they would have to go down and bring the body back
Mhm.
when somebody was killed.
Mm.
And there were 4, and there's a spirit of one of them that's up on the 3rd floor of the barn.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I definitely, I've always wanted to investigate there. I just never have.
Any other places
Oh, wow. I think the list goes on and
internationally?
on.
Alcatraz for sure. I always tell people, it's so funny because the first time I was born and raised in San Francisco. So the first time I went to Alcatraz, oh God, I was maybe 5 or 6. They used to, you can't go down there anymore. And it was sometime in the 90s where they shut it down, but they used to open it up. It was like a whole separate tour where they would take you down into the tunnels.
Mhm.
And I remember being on the tour and seeing this group of people go in a different direction and like looking and like overhearing all the conversation. I'm like, man, like someday I want to do that. And you can't.
So,
You can't anymore. So that would be definitely something that I would love to do.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I would love to
gosh,
hop on a bike and go pub to pub in Ireland.
would be so much fun. Let's
Yeah,
do
but
it.
you'd probably crash.
Yeah, I'm a
Two
I'm a
pubs.
lightweight. Are you a lightweight? Because I'm a lightweight. So yeah,
Yes and no. It depends on what I'm
yes,
drinking.
yeah, yeah.
If
It
you
could
went to
get
Ireland,
interesting.
you could go with Jenny Sullivan. That would be a wild ride.
Oh yeah, we get some great information and great evidence with the
You'd
three.
be able to do all those castles.
Yeah.
That would be
She has some
interesting.
remarkable stuff that she's caught.
Yeah. That would be. I'm trying to think of where they beheaded. Oh my God, why can't I remember? Wasn't it one of Henry's wives that got beheaded?
Hmm.
Yeah, I like to go kind of to that area because I just you can not only get the sadness of what was about to happen, but also like the people watching.
Her name is escaping me too.
Yeah, I'm like I know he divorced a couple, killed a couple, beheaded one or two. I
And
can't
when
remember.
in the middle of the
Linda
night, I'll remember it and I'll message you.
something like that.
Yeah, I'll get a text message. Hey, or even I've been doing a lot of research on the Hatfield McCoy feud. Would love to get to some of those locations that I've done research on.
You'd have to be careful.
Yeah.
Same thing with Hellier in Kentucky.
Yep. Yeah.
You can't, there's roads over there you just don't go down.
Yep. Yep. That's what I'm discovering with my research. It's a lot of people are like, this is what happens here, but yeah, don't go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was from the Newkirks, and one of the guys that was fishing with us all the time, because we got in these discussions before, and the one guy talked about the Grays. And he lived outside of Moorhead, and he had a shack, and they'd go into the caves behind the house and bring the coal back so they could heat their house. And it would be, you'd have to be careful when you went into the cave, because sometimes you ran into a Gray. And we're out there laughing in the boats, everybody thought it was really funny and everything. And then they thought, I don't know about how funny that would be. If you're a little kid and you got a little Gray there,
Yeah.
whoa, time to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really great, to have that kind of opinion on the different things of how we handle things and carry on in the paranormal community, and the, you've got all that sort of supports you. So you got the Newkirks, and that were around forever to me. But they're still there.
Yep.
And I'm still a Patreon. And I still think they're probably one of the best.
Yeah.
But how do you guys feel about them? Have you know them pretty good, don't you, Heather?
I've heard of them, but I don't know too much. But I haven't heard anything negative. So
I've not heard of them.
They're living in, I want to say it's Ohio now.
Okay.
She's Canadian. One of them's Canadian.
Yeah, I think it's her.
And they've been on, quite a few different shows. She's a witch.
Okay.
And, he's just a crazy paranormal guy that has done a lot of experimentation and a lot of things dealing with everything from your brain health, not, what am I trying to say? The brain helmet.
Oh, there's
Yes.
a word for it. Measures the brain waves and everything.
Yeah.
It it puts you in the God helmet,
Yes. Yeah.
and it puts you in a euphoric state.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard about that, it was like, well, and I know Mr. Katie Stafford made quite a few of them.
Yep.
So I don't know how far we're going to go with having something like that, but
Yeah.
you end up
I'd be interested to see how it actually works. I've heard people who've tried it and they say it's great, but I want to see firsthand how it actually works.
Yeah.
because then they go ahead and they say the day after you use I don't know if you know the new goggles, the new
Gansfield.
well, you got the Gensfield method, but then you've got the other goggles are the it's a new why can't I think of it? I got it here. They're we use them on the show, and what they do is this is them.
Okay. Yep.
And you can set them 3 different settings, and why can't I think of the name of it? I'm having a brain fart. But
we have those all the time on our show.
they're it's really something to be able to use different things and use them for the Estes methods, because this enhances it anytime you cross any of those things compared to having a blinder on or eyebrow or whatever you want to call it, and then you use something like this. It sort of brings more to light.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I guess I've been using them too much. I can't remember the damn name of them. But it's been great having you guys. I have to go because I have dogs that I'm watching tonight off of Fairfield Road and Grand Avenue. So you know where I'm talking.
Yep.
That's where one of my 2 sons live, both on Fairfield.
Okay.
And that's pretty real close to where, 20 minutes away from being back at the museum. But so it's great having you guys. I would love to have you back on because, I feel bad about the pictures that didn't show up, I'll keep on bringing it up because it bothers me. And the only way I can get rid of it, and you'll go, and I know both of you being doctors and PhDs are going ahead and saying, I'm missing a screw sometimes. You gave me the recommendation to be able to go ahead and join the Warren Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I really appreciated that when it happened, and I was there, and then everybody after a couple of years seemed to just fade into the sunset.
Yeah, we all left, and I'm just gonna leave it at that.
And now Christopher is, he's still at it. But he's down in South America.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. He's still I still talk to him. I think he's a great guy, and he is part of the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that's important to be respectful for that. So,
yes,
that's what people need to hear.
Yeah.
So, thank you very much to both of you for being here. If you want to stay a minute, I'm just going to shut her down, and then if you'd like to, I'll still be here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tiffany Frazier, PhD, and Dr. Heather Langdon, PhD. It's more people with big. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. Thank you very much. It's been awesome. And
Thank
thank you, everybody that's in the chat. And I know most of you people are over on YouTube. So we'll see you later on and have a good evening. And we'll see you next week. Good night.
Night.
Come on. There you go. Ha 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 ha.